Hey everybody, Jeff Lobb here. Welcome to another episode of Office Hours with Jeff. I'm Jeff Lobb of SparkTank Media. I'm thrilled to be with a special guest today, Kyle Draper. He is the co-founder of Agent Impress, and we're going to be talking some cool stuff on social. So I want to make sure I can hear Kyle okay. How's it going, Kyle?
It's going great, Jeff. How are you?
Good. You look good, sound good.
All right.
As with any live, you know how it is. The first couple people churn in. They're trying to figure out what we're going to talk about today. I want to keep it exciting. And as people that have watched the show before, we're going to dive deep into like some good actionable things that people are doing, stories. I think today we're covering social ideas and storytelling, but in a real way. So I got a few people live. And for those who are jumping on live, if you got some questions, push them up to the screen. I'll be able to share them with Kyle and myself, and we'll be able to answer questions for you, and we'll share this after the fact as well. So that being said, thanks, man. So where you? What state are you in today? What market you in?
Man, we are in Dallas, Texas.
Man, Dallas, Texas.
Yep.
Weather treating you pretty well down there today, or is it?
Dude, it's crazy. Yesterday it was 90, and today it's 50.
Yeah,
so
sounds like our East Coast
crazy. Yeah.
Right. So let's kind of dive right in. You know, I've seen you do so much social stuff. I see you, having the storytelling, but you're not afraid to go live. You're not afraid to do it from the car. You're not afraid to share from any location. So I've been really following some of the cool stuff you've been talking about. And, I think there's some things that you find people neglect in their marketplace when it comes to online and off and their sphere marketing. So share with me some of the problems you've been finding and maybe some ways we can help shape people back on track.
Yeah, man, for sure. So I think I kind of had it was a blessing and a curse at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, because I got into business so late in life, I got really insecure about selling. And I didn't feel like I knew how to sell. I wasn't a good closer. I wasn't good at asking the right closing questions.
Right.
And so I kind of out of that insecurity, I realized that, number one, life's too short for me to take myself so seriously and to try to portray myself as this perfect dude that has it all figured out. Because if you knew me, you would quickly know that is not me. And so then it just kind of forced me to go, okay, if I can't sell hard yet, maybe if I just tell my story and give people ways to identify with me in themselves, it'll kind of break down some of those walls and allow us to kind of bypass the let's get to know each other phase before I'm willing to give you my business.
Yeah, but you know what? You might have just hit one of the more magical points that we're even going to talk about is, do you really even need to sell hard today? I don't think no one wants to be sold hard. And I think people come out of that mentality so strong that they're using these old school methodologies of trying to close and no. Your method, your style that you're talking about right now is how I'd want to be sold, if you will. So
absolutely.
So tell us, so you just evolved how? Through what?
Just through a lot of trial and error. Just, putting myself out there. My business partner, who he and I are like yin and yang, my weakness complements his strengths, or well, I guess his strength would complement my weakness, and then vice versa. So we did a lot, he would force me to do cold calling and things like that just to get comfortable, not to do it for a living, but just to at least say that I've done it, to kind of understand what people are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. Because for me, this as a broker, Matthew Soto, if you don't know that guy, he's a mustache realtor. He's unbelievable.
I've seen him with his little twisty mustache.
Oh yeah. So, but what I saw happen was, as I forced myself to cold call a little bit, it helped me understand that realtors are constantly being, having things pushed in their face. This is going to take you to the next level, and this is what you need to be great. And so it helped me realize that if I don't really genuinely love the people that I'm trying to sell something to, and really show them the value, that I have a very short lifespan in this industry.
I agree.
So that's kind of where my evolution took place.
Are you watching real estate agents actually sell cold in today's world?
Oh, I still run into agents all the time that all their, they're constantly doing script practice, and then they're going into their 2 hours of calling FSBOs or calling expireds. Like, sadly, that's still how a lot of the big brokerages are they're still training through that methodology.
It's it's debatable. I am all for, look, I think one of the biggest things we don't do enough of in the industry is prospecting. 80% of our day should be prospecting. We spend more time on doing the other stuff because it's not as uncomfortable. And FSBOs and expired still need to be called and converted. Sure. But there's probably some better ways to create relationships instead of just core being that hardcore close type stuff. I think some of your methodologies that you've been sharing have a lot better ways to get traction for longevity in the business. So.
For sure. Absolutely. And I think what can happen, at least for me, is that I have, like, my goal is to do it through relationship, but then whether it's through inconsistency or not time blocking well and missing lead generation opportunities, I get to the end of the month and I'm like, holy crap, I got to get some sales. And so then I just have to, well, then how do I know the fastest way to do it? Pick up the phone, start dialing, start calling, because I was so inconsistent on everything else.
Right.
So as in months that I'm constantly telling stories and putting myself out there in ways for people to grasp hold of, I'm not as desperate by the end of the month.
Well, let's go into what are some of your preferred methods from a social standpoint? Like, what are some things that you're teaching agents as well? So,
yeah. So right now, to me, it's all about Facebook Live. In my opinion, it is the most powerful tool we've ever seen in our generation.
Amen.
Because I talk to people all the time, like if I'm teaching a class, and let's say there's 15 agents in that class.
Right.
I tell those guys, I could be doing this class from my living room, and there could be 400 people that see it over the course of the hour.
Right.
But right now, I have no other shot than for the 12 of you to see it. Like, I'm very limited to that. And I think once people understand just the exposure that's available, and then, like, I'm still shocked that Facebook hasn't forced us to pay for live yet.
Yeah.
And you know that they will at some point, right? Like hopefully Mark isn't watching this.
Yeah, he knows.
And and so at some point, like, they're going to keep us from leveraging it for what it is now. And so if you can do it, to be able to tell your story, and I try to help agents understand, like I watch guys like you who you've been doing this forever. You're very eloquent. You're obviously, you've perfected your ability to communicate with people. And so when you do that well, people go, well, Jeff, I can't be like you. Like, I know why it's easy for you, because that's what you do for a living. And so I think it's about helping realtors understand your sphere knows you. If you stutter, your sphere knows that you have a stutter.
Right.
If you don't have a college education, your sphere knows that you don't have a college education. So we've got to get outside of ourselves and feel like we're too inadequate to leverage this opportunity, because people want us for who we are, not for who we want them to think that we are.
Yeah, I think we get too caught up in being too professional or too scripted. And, when I understand scripts might be for one thing of what to say and how to say it. Excuse me, but we use the word authentic and throw it around like it's just this word. But I'll be honest, there's times where I don't have any perfect, like, I'm just sitting in my office, right? Yeah, I've got some stuff put up for some pictures. But I'll tell you right now, if one of my little guys got back from school or somehow and didn't realize I'm on a call and comes running in through the door, that's how it's going to be. There's not going to be any cuts and edits unless it gets way off the rails. Yeah. But at some point, I'd be like, hey, say hi to everybody. And this is how it's going to go, because you know what? I'm a dad too. And it turns out that we were talking about being like real. And I think the personal business page or the personal page of real estate, from Facebook's perspective, we tend to think, and I think you were saying this, people don't want to share their personal world.
Right.
And you had some good examples of people that battle that. Like, I don't want to be on and share people with my personal stuff, you were saying. Yeah.
Well, if you think about it, so think about, like, if we do this video for 45 minutes, there will be great nuggets of information, over that time. But if your son ran into the office right now and you're like, hey, buddy, come here, come say hi to everybody, like that would be their favorite moment of the entire show.
Sounds crazy. Like I should almost stage that.
Right.
Because I know you get more traction, except, we don't want to be staged. And I think real estate perspectives, when they're doing this live from an open house or something, it's like this, hey, let me show you the 3 bedrooms and the 2 baths. And it's just like, I'm doing this tour. How about just tell me something cool about the neighborhood? Like, what's nearby? Tell me something that I need to know that I can't go find online.
Sure. Well, think about this. So this is an idea. Of course, I think it's good. You're an actual broker, so you might be like, dude, that's the worst idea I've ever heard. But I've been telling agents, if you're sitting with sellers and they're really animated and they're good storytellers, I said, let them tour the house. Like, go live and just walk behind them. Because who has better stories of a house than who's lived there for 10 years and can talk about it with passion and conviction and emotion? That sells a house, right? Yeah. So that was just an idea that I had, and I have no idea if it would work, but it sounds good on paper.
I'll tell you why it would work. First of all, anytime you can get someone other than you, it takes the authenticity to another level. If you can get someone like a seller to tour the house and they're willing to answer questions like, what's your favorite room in the house and why?
Yeah.
Tell you about, this is where my baby first took his first steps or something. Like, to me, that's like all these awe moments that I can't create, but you'd have to find. And if you do have that right person, I would absolutely take advantage of anybody who's willing to come on camera and share the why about their house.
Absolutely.
It's magical moments if you can get them to do it. I think the problem in real estate is they don't ask, or they're not willing to even themselves go on camera. So they'll never get there. They'll never.
Yeah, and I tell, it's so funny when I teach on Facebook Live, because I always make everyone like, let's just start talking about the insecurities we have for why we don't do it, right? And I hate the way I look on camera. I hate the way my voice sounds. I don't know what to say. I don't want to mess up. Those are all that I hear it over and over and over again. And so I stop them and I say, okay, have you had coffee with any of your friends lately? Oh yeah, of course. Did you wear a ski mask there? Well, no. Why would I do that? Did you auto-tune your voice like you're Kanye because you didn't want them to hear? And you start saying these things that I'm being funny, but I'm helping them see, like, when we go live, it's to the people that already know, like, and trust us. Right. So the fact that we're even worried, like, my wife knows what I look like. She's seen me in my worst very regularly.
Any better, kid.
So all of these fears we have, they're completely irrational when we boil them down to like the most basic form.
Right.
So that's one of those things, but it kind of just goes along with, we'll always have an excuse for something that we're fearful of.
Right. Yeah. So, and actually, Ben makes a good point here.
Yeah.
Talking about perceived fear versus actual fear. Try and put there he is. I pushed him up there, but he's right. There's all this perceived, and once you start doing it, and once you get past the hurdle, because it's almost better to not be perfect at this stuff. As crazy as that sounds, it's better to not be perfect and try to be perfect. No one cares about scripted, and if you're really that good, people think you're trying to sell them something. That's why we don't like commercials. They're scripted. I don't want commercials. Tell me something I don't know.
And I'll even tell, like, I was talking to, she wasn't a realtor, but she's a business owner. And she owns a store that sells oils and whiskeys, like out of small barrels. It's really cool. And she was talking me through all this stuff. And I stopped her and I was like, Denise, I said, if you want to, just simply admit to the audience of what you're fearful. And now you feel better. Because if you don't, you're trying to get them to not notice that you're afraid of something. So if you just got up and you're like, guys, I just got to tell you, like, I'm scared to death right now.
Get it over with.
The moment you say it, then now you're not nervous about anything because you've already, put it out on the table.
Sure. And, people always ask why about live too. And you started saying this too about the most powerful. I've quoted on stage that it's the most powerful tool since literally the evolution of television. But I don't think real estate agents or people in this business at all, not just real estate, understand that When I spent $2,000 a month back in my real estate days for local TV ads on the, local station, but it was during like prime time when the sports were playing and all the moms and dads were watching. $2,000 a month. I got tons of local activity. I got noticed and I was recognized and people would see me all over the place kind of thing. Think about the power of this. You could be sitting in Canada, London, sitting at NAR right now in Chicago, Florida, anywhere in the world. It costs me nothing to be able to have an audience and deliver a message or a brand or something of intelligence or a piece of property I'm trying to market to an investment group. And it's ridiculous how powerful it is. And yet we still don't find the value and have fear of it. So to adopt quicker.
And I hear, I had a friend of mine, she's an insurance agent, and she teaches some of my content in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And we realized that as we teach about Facebook Live, we would watch the walls come down of who's attending.
Yeah.
But then the moment they left the room and I'm not there to coach them, all the fears are back. Right. So we created a private Facebook group that is just for realtors to practice live videos.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And so in that group, one of the realtors, she did a couple videos and then she went live. She's out of Nevada, and she messaged me and said 10 minutes after her first live video that she said was terrible, she picked up a pre-approved buyer and they were looking at houses the next day.
Yeah.
And so it's just, the opportunity is crazy.
So to go back to your preferences, personal page or business page, where's your preference on Facebook?
I feel like I'd say 80% of your effort should go to your personal page.
Okay. Why?
And then, I feel like your business page is designed for strangers. So yes, your friends will like it because they care about you, but they will not follow it. Plus, if you're not going to run ads, Facebook's not going to show any of your business posts to anyone for free because that's where they make money. Yeah, that's like me asking you to sell my house for 0% commission. It just doesn't make any sense. So I encourage people, like, post once or twice a week on your business page and let it just be relevant for people that show up there. But then the majority of the people that give a crap about what you have to say are all on your personal page.
Right. That's right.
So that's where I feel like, and it's the most untapped market for every single realtor is the people that they already know, like, and trust.
Did we ever talk about, I don't know if we ever got into this. I did this on the NurtureCon platform. We were talking about, they asked me a couple simple tips, and I don't know if you use them or not, but I know one of my go-tos every day is how do you listen better to all the people that matter in my life, whether it's my clients, my business. There's so many people talking in the newsfeed all the time that if something important was said by a client of mine that was important to me, I probably wouldn't see it because it's just in the noise. I run most of my stuff at lists. I create lists strategically to, instead of going, like, I've got certain clients in a list, and some of my clients that might be a corporation that have employees, and they're in a list. And instead of going just to Facebook and looking at everybody's stuff, if I go to my list and it filters them out, when one of those people are saying something good or something's going on in their world, I can listen and see what they're talking about, because there is so much more power in that than no disrespect to anybody listening, but that kind of data about what people are doing and what they're is better than any CRM in the world right now. It's instant. So to me, I go on my mobile device, man, I go to my lists, I look at clients, family, friends, and I talk to them because I can pay attention to them when they don't think I'm paying attention, because it filters them. And that to me is a ridiculously powerful tool that I've talked about it for years, but people still don't do it.
Yeah.
So that's just how I manage my personal page. I just wish they'd give me more than 5,000 friends because I want to talk to more people.
I know.
Crazy.
That's the word. So you said that there was a couple tips. Well,
when I get into Facebook pages and other stuff, that's another whole strategy. To me, if the value of a Facebook page, besides advertising, which is a huge proposition there, is to use it how to prospect, is to leverage it on how to prospect clients. And if you can use something like that and create a niche and prospect from it, and maybe we'll save that for another session, but it was a magical prospecting tool that can make my prospecting easier than anything. And if you dropped me in the middle of anywhere USA, I could literally start my business with a Facebook business page and have a script to go with and literally start to build relationships. Not a magic pill, not a silver bullet, but easily, because I don't like cold calling. I did it for years. I was in sales. I was on headsets and smiling and dialing. I didn't like it. I just did it. So that being said, it's part of the challenge. So these tools, it's always about how you're going to use it that make the difference. So I want to learn more about, I know you've talked about it quite a bit, and I learned from this too, because I think I need to get better in ways of your storytelling, the storytelling concept or what you do with it and how you do it.
Sure.
Can you share a little bit more about your storytelling?
Yeah. So the first part that I try to help people understand is just that there's really no such thing as different pockets of our lives anymore. So used to, you could be a business owner, you could be a dad, you could be a husband, you could be a friend with your drinking buddies. Like, you have all these different compartments, and if you didn't want them to marry over, they didn't have to.
Right. Like, you went home from work, you were done. That was it. Right.
And no one cares, like, man, I wonder what Jeff and his wife did for their anniversary. I wonder what Jeff ate for lunch today. I wonder, like, no one wondered that 10 years ago.
Right.
But now we do. And so the first part of storytelling is simply understanding that as a real estate agent, you are a realtor everywhere you go. You're a realtor and a mom. You're a realtor and a dad. You're a realtor and a daughter. You're a realtor and whatever it is that you're also doing. You're never not able to meet someone that goes, oh, that's crazy. My husband and I were just talking about, should we put our house on the market and make some money? So that's kind of the first part, is just, you have to honestly be okay with that and then be willing to let people in.
I'm just trying to think. I'm sitting here laughing, saying, I wonder, like, oh no, I'm not a realtor right now. I'm just at ShopRite picking up some food. I'm not real estate. I'm not a realtor.
Yeah.
I'm turned off.
Yeah. Call me Monday, because I don't want to have a business conversation because it's Saturday.
That's right.
That's not real life. So to me, that's kind of where it starts, is you have to understand that. Yeah. Then everything you do has to be done with purpose. So I tell people all the time, like I did a Facebook Live video maybe a year ago of my kids in the bubble bath. And I was not in the bubble bath, because that would be very weird.
That would have been.
And maybe it would have got more views, but I wasn't. And then my kids' privates, their little private parts were covered by bubbles. Okay. But the whole point of the video was, it was a Friday night. My wife is a stay-at-home mom, which means she has the hardest job on the planet. And so I just went live, and I was showing my kids, but I was talking about how at times I will force my wife to leave our house just so that she can go adult, because of how hard her job is. And it's amazing, like, how many brownie points that won me with every female realtor that saw that video.
I think right now, I can feel the heat of my wife watching this right now. Tonight, I guess I have to go home and and of course, like, I wish I could say I do that every night. That may have been the only time I ever did that in the history of our marriage, but it was on camera, so it will always be remembered. So that's, some people could look at that video and be like, that's so weird. Why would you do that? But I wasn't trying to sell anything. I was trying to identify with moms and dads and sons and daughters and parents of young kids that understand the stress of every day. And so that was my purpose. Right.
And it had nothing to do with my business, but it had everything to do with my business, because I am my business.
That's right. No one even has to know what product you have or sell or service you sell. But if I'd liked you and connected with you at that particular moment, from a dad spending time with his kids, doing his thing, it's a dad thing. Like, we get it and we understand that. So to me, the likability and trust was already being built. You could have said you sold water bottles or anything for that matter.
Yeah.
I would have kind of been like, hey, talk to me about it. How's that go? Like, I'd have asked for that. Tell me, because I wasn't intimidated by that. I think we like to do it the opposite.
here's my thing. Do you like it? If you don't, cool, see ya. If you do, great. Now let's have a relationship.
Yeah, right.
As opposed to like, here's me. If you and I mesh, cool. At some point, we'll probably do business together.
Right.
Whether that's now or a year from now. But guess what? Between now and a year from now, I want you to love me so much that you can't stop talking about me to people you know that need what I have.
And, there's times where you see true relationships, and I'll be honest, I'll flip it to real estate. I'll share some of my past experience where I've had some relationships with people. We've sold them some properties, stayed connected, lunch and this. And then there was a time, for whatever reason, maybe purchased or referred to another real estate agent to do another transaction somewhere where normally I'd have been like, time out. I'm done. Like, what the hell? When if I'm going to have a true relationship, hey, how'd that work out for you? Was it okay? Like, I can't be mad because I probably dropped the ball somewhere and had.
Right.
But if you continue to nurture it and you don't burn that bridge, it turns out that sometimes it'll come back again, and it does, and it has. And you can't fall off the horse and say that was my relationship was only because of the transaction. You're either a genuine guy or gal, and you're genuine have a relationship for a relationship, not just because of a transaction.
100%.
So what do you tell real estate agents then when they get all bent about, like, I don't want to share stuff on my personal page? Like, I don't want to tell people what I do.
So I at first I was very abrasive in a bad way. Just telling them like, that's stupid, like if you don't want to do it that way. But then like my wife has helped me a lot because obviously like there's people that have been through personal things.
Yeah.
They have legit reasons for choosing to be more private. And it is not fair for me to say like, screw your experience and your opinions. This is how you do it. Right. So I try to tell people like to take baby steps. If you're willing to make your whole profile public today, awesome. Let's do that. But if you're not, you can still pick and choose individual posts that you allow to be public. Right. So that if someone happens to come to your page, they're not locked out of everything. So that's kind of how I help people kind of baby step through the waters. Because if someone was abused as a child, and then now they have children that they don't want to expose to that out of their fear.
Sure.
I can't tell them that that's an irrational fear and that makes no sense.
Right.
So I've got to try to hold their hand and as slowly as possible kind of walk them to the next step.
But we also have to be sure that, let's face it, sometimes maybe those people aren't in the right career roles either too. If they're not, they're not willing to talk to people, or there's that intimidation. I'm not saying, just for the magic of this conversation, I'm not saying they don't fit in real estate. They may not fit in the rainmaking position of real estate. They may have awesome other roles to play in the real estate team environment or business environment. But sometimes you learn by, if I have the fear of this, do I have the fear of picking up the phone and talking to somebody? Do I have the fear of, figure out what piece of the puzzle you fit to be in?
Absolutely.
The one debate I think that goes on a lot is the transactional agent versus a relationship agent.
Yeah.
And some of that. And what are some of your thoughts on that?
So gosh, this is such an interesting debate to me because my opinion is I feel like with what we're seeing happen with Zillow and Realtor.com and all those guys, and then we're seeing some of those agencies pop up that are doing it for flat fees.
Sure.
I forget which one. We just had a new one move into Open Door, just moved into Dallas. Okay. Right? It's $5,000 per transaction or something like that. Mm-hmm. And so my opinion kind of is that if you're a transactional realtor, that means that everything you do can be duplicated. And then if we automate it, it can be perfected. And so in my opinion, you could potentially see yourself as slightly out of a job, whereas the only alternative to robots is relationship. And so that's kind of where my opinion starts. Again, I don't claim to be right, but that's just kind of where my head's at.
I know most of the time I'm not right. I'll just be upfront. Well, there's a debate. I can't speak for some of the models because some of the models are different. I'll give you that. And I also know people that are very successful, whether it be with a Zillow or truly a Realtor.com. And however, I think by defining a transactional agent, meaning one who just focuses on the deal and onto the next deal and onto the next deal, kind of like what just happened and maybe still happening in the short sale process and the big foreclosure market. It was sell them a home, they're in, done, next, and never got to know the people that moved in there, because guess what? In 5 to 7 years, they're going to pick up and probably do something else. But you just churned and burned because you were just killing transactions and you made a lot of money, probably. But it has a life, because eventually, look at all that business you sold to and will not get a referral from because they don't probably remember who the hell you were.
Right.
So you lose the career of real estate and you're in the business of it, not the career of.
Right. And and again, this is just my opinion, but I think the one of the things that I admire about a more transactional agent is that they are crazy consistent, and they are like they're busting it constantly. Like they're rarely taking breaks, and they are just going after it, which to a degree I admire.
Right.
But then I also come from the mindset of whatever I do to grow my business is what I'm going to have to do to keep my business.
Right.
And I want to be able to take breaks. Like I want to be able to step away from the phone and know that my processes and my relationships are going to keep it going, and not, well, holy crap, if I take 2 weeks off to go on vacation, I can just go ahead and chalk those 2 weeks up for nothing.
Sure.
Because I'm the X factor of my business. That's a scary place to be. So to me, that's kind of the catch-22 of the transactional go agent.
Right. I want you to, I don't know if you can read, Rob Moore is going to take me down this path. If you could read Rob's post, maybe we'll close up our session here, because that was that tip I didn't get a chance to talk about, the one on Facebook Business.
Oh, yeah.
But I might as well go there, because I know he's here and he's sharing, and he's spot on. I should probably talk about it.
Yeah.
So
go there. Let's do it.
So, we talked about the personal page and the business page. I see value only in the business page, not from just an advertisement standpoint, and not just from a public site or a public page that Google could find. I always looked at it as, because I told you early on, I never liked prospecting door to door, like straight up. I did it in a gold mustardy jacket for years. I did it before technology was born. And you know what? It works. It still works. People talk to me, but I've always learned this strategy is, if I could find people to talk to that lived in the community or knew more people than me, instead of one door at a time, how could I talk to somebody that knew a lot more people than I with one phone call or one door knock? So years ago, this perception of business came around, and I started it before Facebook. And Rob is a video expert for the Echo Fine Property team, which I just made a post about today on Inman.
Oh, I saw that.
Highlighting this, the guy that's doing a lot of the video content, and he gets it. And he executed the strategies that really, we just talk about, but they execute. And as well as a lot of other people in this business are learning. If I went and walked into a business, and instead of having a business page that's facebook.com/ like Jeff Lobb real estate guy, which I'm going to post a listing and I'm going to post an article about something, or better yet, we'll talk about this maybe too, is I pay some company for $50 a month to post some, like, what do you think of this hot tub? Or what do you think of this? And no one talks to me on it. It's garbage. However, I could walk into a business and I could create a page that talks about, the best of Sussex County or the best of Monmouth County. Pick a town, pick a neighborhood, the best of whatever. And I could walk into anywhere USA and say, hey, I'm Jeff Lobb with XYZ Real Estate Company. I've just put together a Facebook page that is talking about the best of Arizona. Mm-hmm. And I think you guys are one of the best pizzerias, coffee shops, whatever it might be. And I would love to spend some time to promote your business on my Facebook page so I could share with all my potential real estate clients. Would you be okay with that? Now, think about that script, first of all. People are like, well, I've really had people back in the day simply say, well, how much? And I'm like, no, I'm not. I am highlighting some of the best people in this community that I sell real estate in. And I want to highlight you on my page so my clients can see it and hopefully get down to your place and experience what you have to offer. Are you okay if I help promote and share your business? Who would tell me no? Now, truthfully, no one. I genuinely would do that, because you know why? A, I should know my community. B, these people are busting their butts in my community, servicing the people that live in the homes that surround my farm area anyway. Third, it gives me an opportunity to give first. Giving first is the best thing. Before I ever ask, I'm not saying, hey, you're going to put my business cards on your counter. It's let me help promote your business on my page because I think you do a really good job. Yeah. When that's done and that pushes to my page, now I've got good content for my community. But and I have this quote out there. I don't have the slide, but I got the quote. It's never about the post, meaning it's not just about a post of a restaurant. It's about the people in the post. That's good. So when I see somebody do a community page and it's about this restaurant thing or some new business that opened, I'll ask them, did you go talk to the owner and meet them and ask them to promote? No, I just posted. It was good stuff. Don't care. Like, good that you did it, but the real value is go meet the owner of the people that created that business. Get to know them.
You get their buy-in.
Get their buy-in. Help them become their friend. It's called prospecting, but in a good way. So,
hey, Jeff, real quick, in transparency of being live, I sat down without my charger. So I'm gonna walk us into the next room so that I can not die while we're finishing up this call.
Don't die, man. You actually have a charger in the other room?
Yeah. Sweet.
Good. And I'll just keep going because Rob's talking about with stuff that they're doing actual and execution, and I love that. I always tell people, go to their site, Echo Find Properties, check out some of the video, the viralness to what they're getting. They're getting videos from local business owners they're shooting, in some cases, well over 100 and some odd shares, if you can imagine that.
Oh my gosh.
The value of a share is amazing. And I could probably go into that strategy altogether, but Rob nicely teased me into having that conversation. But if you're going to use a business page from that aspect, use it with a niche in mind or something specific where I could create value and content at the same time.
And I actually remember, Jeff, the first time I heard you teach that, like I'll teach that in some of my classes now. And I give you credit for it, of course, because I got the idea from you.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's still a great idea. But yeah. So are you going to find a plug or are we going to lose you?
No.
Uh-oh. Oh, we're losing him. You still with us? We might have lost him. I'll wait till he figures it out. I think you're there. You might have to go back to your spot. I don't know if you could do both, but he might be dropping out. Can you post a link to your website? Yeah, I got you back. Yep. So we'll post a link. Let me do this here real quick. It's probably, if I had to guess, facebook.com/ I'll do it for Rob Echo, unless he did it before me and I'm on a delay. Echo Find Properties. I think this is it. That should be it. Facebook.com/ Echo Find Properties down in Florida. You might want to check them out. So Ben, if you go there, just scroll down and get down to some of the content that was created a couple weeks ago and just look at some of the shares, the views. Some of them have 10,000 views on it already. Just insane organic reach. And don't get me wrong, it's a work in progress. There's nothing perfect. It's, we're trying to loosen up a little bit, maybe not be too scripted. We're trying to not talk about the brand too much. It's all about them. It's work in progress. It's never perfect. And we're learning a lot each and every day. And I'll tell you the one tip that we learned, it might have been by accident, but we learned a lot from it, is when they did a video post, let's say if it was your business, Kyle, right? So we did the post, you're excited about it because it's content you can use on your site. And what happened was you took that post and when you shared it, you tagged all of your friends and family to see your video. And by that tagging of your personal friends and family created such an organic viral reach, it became hugely and widely shared by having that done. And we were like, holy cow, that was pretty powerful. So now if you really want to help them get more viral reach, help them tag and engage their friends and family, which in turn, remember, we're in the video still being branded. It helps everybody. So
that's an awesome tip. And I think to go back to what you were saying about the Echo page, just talking about how it's not perfect, you're still trying to get better. I think possibly the single greatest tip someone could get from this video is just jump in and start.
Yeah, don't be
right. like we will get so caught up in our anxieties that we'll be like, well, when I don't hate my own voice, then I'll start. Or when I don't hate how I look, then I'll start. And, fortunately, like that's not changing unless you spend thousands of dollars, right, to reconstruct your face. So you just got to jump and go and know that it's going to keep getting better.
And just remember, the content should be something unique, something that, you can't Google, something you can't find. I don't need to know it's a 3-bed, 2-bath house. Tell me something about the history of the house or something specifically. I tell people to learn 3 words is I don't care. I don't care what your hair looks like. I don't care if it's a day. I don't care if it's snowing outside. People just want to know, and they want content that's something that's interesting to them. I'll tell you a really interesting tip. Is from a friend of ours. He's a speaker. I was watching part of his keynote. I just want to make sure I get him. I'm trying to think what the name of his keynote was, if I could figure it. Give me a second. I want to tell you this cool tip he shared, and I'm going to give him full credit for it too as soon as I find him. I want to make sure the keynote title. I wonder if he had a title to it. I don't know the name of the actual keynote name, but it's about content marketing. His name's Andrew Davis. So anyway, his name is Andrew Davis, speaker on content marketing. And I know he has about 5 different talks, but this is the one he did on content marketing. And he showed this awesome scenario about getting attention in content. And he showed this one scenario about how you get people's attention and he showed this company that does really slow-mo videos. So what they did is they took like a watermelon and they put not a stick of dynamite, but either an M80 or some kind of explosive in it. And they did a slow-mo. So they did the real thing and went, poof, it blew up, right? Then they did a slow-mo version of it, which looked really awesome, of this thing blowing up. But total attention was about 18 seconds. 9 minutes for the first part, it blew up, and then they showed you so 18 seconds of people's attention. I'm like, wow, okay, they got their attention. Then he said, here's another scenario of the same watermelon that wants to still be the watermelon by a different group of people. And what they did is they started a Facebook Live broadcast talking about will the watermelon and when will it implode? And they started putting rubber bands over top of the watermelon to create pressure. And people are logging on and watching live. And you may say, this is the stupidest content in the world. Remember, attention is powerful. There were people, and he was showing comments on the screen of people like, oh my God, it's 30 minutes already. I'm going to miss my kids from the bus. I'm not going to, I got kids waiting for me. I can't leave to see what's going to happen next, because they're starting putting more rubber bands over, and it's, compressing this thing, and you're waiting for this thing to implode, or will it implode? And there are people debating, will rubber bands do it? Like, I don't know how long this thing went on, 45 minutes longer, that kept people's attention by doing the same thing. But he used the word creating like fear and creating, dramatic effect to it. So where these guys did it in 18 seconds, these guys took 45 minutes and still had hundreds, if not thousands, of eyeballs watching. So it's amazing how content could be expanded upon and drawn more of attention to when it's got the curiosity of people. So it was pretty cool. Andrew Davis, check him out. Awesome speaker. He does a lot of keynotes in the content marketing space, but give him kudos to that. Awesome. It caught my attention. And he had my eyeballs watching that too, because it was a really neat spin on attention.
I love that.
So cool. So any last suggestions to wrap up? I know, you're out teaching, training, speaking. Any last tips for people who are out there getting stuck on this stuff? Tips on live, ideas they should be using, kind of wrap up.
I think I had one other thing I want to ask you as well.
Oh, yeah.
But I think taking advantage of behind the scenes opportunities. Like some of my most watched videos have been when I'm teaching a class live and I just prop my camera up in the back of the room. And you almost kind of like, even based on the angle, because it's behind everyone, you're almost subliminally like helping them understand, like they can just quietly watch and I don't know they're there. They don't have to be heard from. They can just take in the content and just letting people.
Was it behind you or behind them?
No, like in the back of the room. in the back of the room, so they
you.
can see me, and then the back of the heads of everyone who's attending.
Cool.
You know, just simple things like that, because then you're not having to say, like, what am I going to say on Facebook Live?
Right.
You just let it be a part of what you're already doing.
Right.
You know, and we love, like, think about on TV when, you know, they do a special on, like, behind the scenes of making this movie, or behind the scenes of, you know, whatever it is. And we're just kind of like, we love getting to see, like, the inner workings of things.
I agree with that. Yeah, I think I've done some backstage stuff too, and it's cool to show. I've even gone out live being introduced onto a stage, because it's a weird look sometimes, and you know, it's intimidating, and it's a little, you know, like fear factor a little bit. But I agree. So maybe the inner workings of your real estate office and what's happening on a showing and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. And so that's kind of what I would suggest. The other question I have for you is, you know, you were kind of telling me, and I heard you talk about it briefly in the past, but you have a really cool thing you teach, which is the 7 streams of people. You know, so this whole time we've been talking about, like, how do we engage our sphere, and how do we do that well? Yep. But then, man, once you add in, like, what you teach with the different types of people that are available, I think that'll help people really have some, like, handles on what this looks like.
All right, cool. Maybe tie this all up. So try and give you the short version of that. And it's something, not only it's like my belief system, it's actually what I had to do to keep my business successful. Selling real estate is in real estate. If you've lived in this world of selling, you have peaks and valleys. And, you know, especially when you make a living at this, and it's not like a part-time gig, peaks are great, valleys are terrible, and you just hope the valleys don't go deeper. So I've got 2 or 3 sales this month. I closed everything, and then holy crap, I got nothing for 2 more months. It's brutal. You know, our mortgage company doesn't want to wait for that. So I had to look at a couple things, and I said, okay, why am I getting into these valleys, and how do I minimize them? And the problem was I didn't have enough, let's just call it streams of leads. You know, the whole book wrapped around multiple streams of income. If you've read that, it was back a long time ago. The theory is the same as having multiple streams of income, so that when one source is hurting, the other source is providing, and you had enough streams to fulfill, you know, the income level. Same concept into real estate is I didn't have enough streams of people. And what I mean by that is a stream of people to me might be, I've got my sphere, my core sphere here. Okay, great. We assume they're there. We assume they're going to give me business. But what else do I have next? Well, let's just say another stream is Zillow or Realtor.com. I'm getting leads from them. That's a stream, assuming it's bringing me in production. I qualify a stream, by the way, as something that's income producing, not stale. Okay. Like my sphere could be counted as a sphere if it's producing, but if it's stale, it's there, but I wouldn't count it as one of my 7. I feel you need to have at least 7 powerful income producing streams of leads and people. A different stream might be, and something that doesn't overlap might be, I joined the PTA in my school. The PTA group of people is not my core sphere of friends and family. It's not my Zillow leads. And I'm not there for leads, but I'm there to connect with more people that normally I wouldn't talk to. Another one that was real for me was, and definitely one beneficial, was a hobby of mine. I belong to the Appalachian Bowmen, which is a 3D archery group, right? It's almost like a bowling league, but for archery. 50 of us belong to a club. We invite people from all over the state several times a year to do an event. For 3 months, people didn't even know I was in the real estate business. It was something we did. Different group of people. It wasn't the PTA. It wasn't my sphere. And it got me out. Once they found out I was in real estate, and I think I wore a shirt in one day that said I was in real estate, they were like, oh my God, you're in real estate? They already liked and trusted me, and we already got along and connected at that level. The relationship was there. There wasn't a week that went by that someone like, hey man, I need your help. I got a question for you. Can you help me with my mom's house? It became a source. Now I wasn't there for that, but it turned into that relationship. I had to keep finding more. I coached kids football, another source of parents that's different than PTA, different than ad. So I added them up, and then I'll tell you where I lacked. I didn't have 7. I only had like 5. And I said, how can I find 2 more producing ones? And I looked at where do I not have representation of me? Maybe it's a BNI group. To me, I also had to get down to the town and the community level. How do I get involved with the town, the food drive stuff where people are there at the town level different times of the day? And I put myself in those positions where at least I had 7 producing streams of people giving me referrals and leads of that source. I know there's people that have sources and they go, oh, I have at least 7, but are they all giving you monthly referrals and sources? Because if not, you keep working that relationship, but don't count it as one of your 7. Facebook could be another one. Facebook could be another one. So you've got to pick and choose where they can come from, and you have to go out and go to work. But it gives you the strategy to say, where do I not know people that I could be involved with? And to me, 7 worked. I probably had 12 or 15 of them, but they weren't all producing at the same time. So 7. When you have that, the promise I make to you is you will need help in your business because it will grow beyond one person, which is what scaled me to then. I need an assistant. I need a marketing person. Grew that business. But it minimized the valleys to where not here, they were here. And instead of closing 3 or 4 deals a month, instead of going to 0, I went to 2 or 3 and back up to 7. And it evolved. So 7 straight people tied together that produce income. So that was my theory. And this relationship talk is very relative to that.
And it's brilliant. What I love about it is, you always see people that are successful, but it's all coming from the same source.
Right.
And then you lose that source and you are in a world of hurt.
That's right.
And so staying diversified like that, I think is huge. Man, that's awesome.
I think, investors do it for, like I said, diversification. Investors do it.
Yeah.
People with, investment income for real estate do it. Why aren't we doing it in the real estate business? We're relying upon hope or a few people that are funneling leads to me, or I'm hoping that lead that came in today converts to a buyer, when you should have, not guaranteed, but have done the work to have referral sources coming in from multiple angles. And once you set that up and nurture it and keep working it, and I tell people all the time, I didn't coach kids football to go get leads. I did it because I enjoyed it. It was something I wanted to do, but at the same time, it cultivated relationships, which in turn said, hey, I trust you. I'd love you to list my house.
Yep.
That's how it worked out.
Yeah, so, and it wouldn't have worked if you would have gone in from the other approach and said, I'm going to go coach so I can get more business.
True. And I used to mimic, I used to do it live in like one of my classes. I would get like a whole list of like open house flyers or something. And I would joke around with this, but I'd say, how would you feel if I showed up to your kid's soccer game and be like, hey, here's my new listing. Hey, here's my new listing. Hey, like jamming it down your throat. Like, get away. You'd be that creep that no one wants to talk to. Yeah. I just want to be Jeff, the dad, the realtor, the coach, and do my job. And if I do my job well, and I'm human about it, people like and trust you. And eventually we might do some business. I might have earned it.
Yeah. I love it.
You're the same way, man. You're the same way, which is what I value about the relationship.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, thanks for asking that question. You got me on a wind. I get all wound up.
Yeah, man.
Stuff, but these are the things we both share. You share and teach, we share and teach, we learn from each other. The goal is it's work. You got to learn to work it. But if you work and focus on the right things, your business will flourish. If you spend your time doing non-productive stuff and busy work, you're going to stay very busy, but you're going to be very broke. And that sucks.
Yes.
I don't wish that on anybody.
That does suck.
So, hey, man, listen, thanks. I want to wrap up. It's just under an hour. I can't thank you for your time today, man. I value everything you do. Let's keep at it. And let's keep sharing the wealth and making people productive, man.
You got it, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Cool. So go check out Kyle. Any website or email address you want to push out, way to get a hold of you if you got any questions?
Yeah, they can reach out to me on Facebook, Kyle Randall Draper. Our company website is agentimpress.me, or they can email me at kyle@agentimpress.me. So
I think your name should be up under yourself there, Kyle Randall Draper. So thank you all for another episode of Office Hours with Jeff. We're going to keep pushing it and pushing the envelope with different content. Share your feedback, got questions, reach out, and come follow our page at SparkTank Media. We'll see y'all. Appreciate you guys.
See ya.
Thanks, man.